you get the same player. I've seen it quite a few times. The same player that was no good in the regular RuneScape, they were pretty much kick ass in beta. It really does.
Well, on the
It
beta,
helps, but it then again it doesn't.
yeah, but on the beta, it's just easy. It's too, in my opinion, it's too easy. I can, oh, I want to go PK. I'll grab some rune. You know, some if you have 85 Herblore, I think you're gonna have a big advantage. With the ability. But aren't they're changing the special recovers to like ability restore?
Yeah,
But
and you can use all those in the wilderness now. You can,
yeah,
I mean, overloads have been downsized, but
yeah. So
I
like
haven't really tested the difference between overloads and no overloads, but I don't know if they do a lot. But those spec restores are definitely
yeah. So like
make it a lot easier to get over the
your ultimate
ultimate
ability.
abilities. Yeah.
uh, Even
No,
though
go
the
ahead.
beta kills the claw rushers and polypore people, um, you can say that it's good in a way, but it's bad in a way. Like there's certain things to an extent you play and then, like you can do. But I can see another rushing tactic coming out soon, probably with the mall. Probably people just gonna farm the 80, have the mall, press like 3 buttons and killing you.
I don't know if they changed multi-combat, because originally you could I remember going out there, and since my level in the beta is like 186 or something, if I went far enough out there, I could get hit by like a 190 or something like that. And at first I just start fighting with a guy that was my level using melee, and all of a sudden I get like two other people using Zerite bows, and getting all these extra hit slots. I'm like, why not attack him? But at the same time, I'm thinking, no, multi-combat all over the world is really not that good. I mean, especially in the wilderness. That makes luring all that much
Yeah,
easier. I guess at the same time, luring would be a little bit harder to do because you'd have to do more damage. It's not like 3 barrage hits and they're dead and you get all their goodies and whatnot. But if you had like 3 people standing out there, that'd be pretty easy to take someone down pretty quickly if they didn't have any food on them and they were just wearing like a party hat or something, and just drop them for their party hat. But I think they were talking about making multi-combat worlds, but I'm not so sure. And I don't know if recently they took out multi-combat in the wilderness. I haven't gone on and checked, but if they have, that's really good. And that's one extra thing to the beta that I like. But I gotta say, if they leave that in, I probably won't be going to the wilderness anytime soon.
yeah. And it kind of kills Slayer because sometimes you don't you want to because when you slay, and let's say if you're in a multi-combat area, the slaying and the guy attacks your monster, the XP's halved.
Yeah.
So I definitely see a lot of people, accidentally clicking on a monster like, oh, I didn't know it's multi, because I'm used to regular RuneScape, so I'm just gonna attack your monster. I don't care if I get half each XP. I just want to get this task done.
Right, it kind of brings back more the competition of doing Slayer or doing a few other things, just like it was intended to be at first. Having the competition of getting resources or uh, monster kills and things like that. That's, I believe, is more of a good thing than it is a bad thing. I mean, yeah, you got some real pain in the ass people that are, let's say if you're maxed out level and you just want to go in and get your task done, you can kill everybody's monster because you want to get done. In a way, you earn that right because you're level. But you look at the way people are getting levels, and you're like, well, they don't even know how to fight to begin with. So maybe the abilities and the adrenaline bar will help out that fact of being actually having the ability to compete against a higher level player.
Yeah. For all I know, in the beta, if it does come out when I mean, there could be like a level 200 or a max combat player in the regular game, 138, just AFKing in the center of all these Slayer monsters, and they just have that the ultimate ability that boosts their attacks. And if they wanted to do that just to get the Slayer XP and stuff like that, that would be okay. But if you were to come in there with like a lower Slayer level and you weren't max, I mean, if they're AFKing, you have a bit of an advantage over them. You can kill the monsters quicker, and and you have just that advantage. Now, those max combat players could be playing like you are, using the abilities and stuff like that, and that would be where it comes into play that you don't want multi-combat. But I think a good a good trade-off would be to have a multi-combat world. So if you wanted to, you could go there with or like people that don't want. I mean, it's kind of like when you're training at bandits, you try to. No, when you go to God Wars and you're soloing, you have that advantage where you don't need loot share, so you can just go to any old world that doesn't have loot share, and there's more than likely not going to be as many people there, because a lot of people that go there in teams look for loot share worlds, unless they're doing just coin share and they're just giving half or splitting it. But that's where the multi-combat comes in. So if you don't care about other people taking your kills, you can just go to a multi-combat world and you just be getting faster XP. But on the other hand, if you did care about the XP and you wanted to have your own kills, you could stay on the single combat world and just play that way, and that'd just be the two different options that you have. And I guess it would make the game a little bit better.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I always urge players to get on the beta, go to the areas that they really know about. I mean, the ones that they've basically mastered the area. And get on beta and test out that area in the beta system, going against other players or whatever, so they can really see what needs to be balanced out and put that suggestion on forums. I mean, I cannot stress it more that beta needs to have things fixed. I mean, there are a lot of unbalanced things. There are a lot of things that should be fixed before it's released. And without players actually getting on the beta and testing it out and giving it a shot and learning how to use the system, whether they want to learn how to use the AFK ability and use the abilities and the adrenaline bar kind of like a special, you know what I mean? Or if they want to actually go out and kill with the abilities and really learn to see what that takes, and if they can prevent players from stealing their monsters, or even like they've added now, the group slaying, you know, the partner slaying or whatever, whether that could be a major advantage now with the abilities, or is it a disadvantage, or anything like that. But the main thing is making sure, or having players make sure that they do play the beta, go to the areas they know like the back of their hand, and see what needs to be fixed to make it the best as it can be possible. Because we all know that beta is going to be released. It's not going to be made a separate game like we all hoped, you know, to where we can step into it ourselves. But having...
I still think they should look at...
What's that?
I think they should I think they should look at actually making the beta a separate game. You know, the people, the 50-bit, like, you know, how people did in classics. They didn't like the change to RuneScape 2. You know, it's the same. It's basically we're going through the same thing. So I think, you know, they should probably take the same step, you know, to keep people happy. And, you know, I think to me, that cares about money. So, you know, I would, in my opinion, I'd try to keep around my my old veteran stuff, my paying subscribers. That's what I would do.
Yeah, I mean, a majority of people prefer this. I mean, or the regular game. I'm not sure about the exact numbers on the people who prefer the beta more, but I think a majority of members that are on prefer the regular game. And if they had a choice, they'd probably stay on the regular game. I mean, I know there's probably like a good 1,000 people that still play on Classic, and if they were to come from the regular RuneScape 2 to whatever the beta became, I think slowly people would come over, but I don't know. I mean, at the same time, a lot of people are emphasizing something that Jagat said. At least I think they said. I remember hearing about this, is that if they got enough negative feedback, like a lot of negative feedback, they would scrap the beta. But that would probably have to be like literally no one didn't like the beta, and I know there's probably like a couple people that at least prefer the beta over the RuneScape 2 game. So, I mean, I'd be, like I said, I'd be okay with the beta coming in, but I think if they wanted to keep a majority of their members base, subscriber base, they should at least attempt to take count of who likes a bit, like when they did the wilderness vote, do something like that. And I mean, maybe that wasn't the best update and re-edition of an update into the game. I mean, I think when they first did the vote, it was like 90% to 10%, and it was overwhelming. I mean, a lot of people wanted free trade back, but I think a lot of people are rethinking that. But I think the same thing would go with the beta, and potentially if people didn't like it, they could save it, and then they could save all the work they've done on it on some other thing, like another server that they're slowly working on, and maybe like they did with Wilderness, they could have a vote. Do you want it back? Do you want the beta back? Is it something you guys might want in the future again?
Yeah.
And I think if they don't release it, which I think they probably will, I mean, I said something like, knowing Jagex, they'll probably need 101% of the RuneScape population to say no for them to change it, because I think they're probably going to go forward with this. I mean, they're saying at the earliest it's going to come out in September, which is next month, so potentially we could see it really soon. I think they've done a little too much work on it now to scrap it, but I mean, if they had a chance, if they get enough feedback, they could set it to where it's kind of like the Wilderness thing, and they have that vote maybe in like a year or so, and maybe after this new skill that's out, or supposed to be coming out in 2013, if it benefits combat in any way, or if they make the combat literally to the T of what players want to see, maybe a lot more people would accept it. But I think it's just too much of a change currently, and a lot of people see it as a similarity to WoW, World of Warcraft, and some other games that they don't want RuneScape to turn into something like that. They like how it's unique, but like I was saying in the very beginning, RuneScape itself has to move forward in some way. I mean, we can't just keep this old thing. I mean, we basically had the same combat for 10 years. I mean,
Yeah.
A lot of players got bored of the combat the way it is, because they're like, well, I'll just AFK this, and then granted we got the clans and the friend chats and the private messaging, but not all the time not all the time is there going to be people on that you can chat to prevent yourself from being bored, so to speak. They want to have the ability to be more interactive with combating, or be more interactive with doing anything, really.
Yeah, because actually, you're talking about people getting bored of AFKing on how the combat is now. There's a lot of ways you can have fun still, and don't have to AFK. I mean, yeah, you'll get less XP, but hey, you're still getting them out. Because right now I'm actually trying to make this video. I'm trying to get a Dragon Full Helm from Mithril Dragons instead of getting a Visi. Instead of actually going to like like Blue Dragons, in the Dungeoneering Cave. I'm gonna go to Mithrils. I'm just gonna camp there, until I get it. Because I actually find that fun right now. It's not based. This game is not based on XP. It's what you want to do for fun.
Right. As quoting another video maker, basically the game is what you make it, and also the game ends when you decide it for it to end. I mean, you can keep on going and keep on setting goals to do different things. So it is what it is, and a lot of people just gotta, I think mainly give it a complete chance, and if they just keep comparing it to other games, well, the whole game is like another game. There's always a different part of the game that is related to another game. So, it is all up to the player.
Yeah, I think that given a chance, the beta would be a good improvement. Whether or not it's the time to release it, because I think it's a really, really big change to how the game is already. I'm not saying that it's bad. I mean, the combat could use a bit of a rework, and this is good in some ways, but it's a little much to bring out suddenly. But I think if you introduce these things slowly, if Jagex found a way to maybe first introduce the abilities and just the abilities and the special bar or whatever, I think if they found ways to slowly implement this, Kind of like they did with summoning. They released it in 2 parts. Maybe that's not the best example, but it's similar nonetheless. They did the first half of the monsters, and they were like, oh yeah, okay, we're getting pretty positive reviews from this, so we'll release another batch. And they had summoning too, and a lot of people love that. I mean, I use summoning quite a lot. I mean, the scaling boosts, like the Lava Titan, the Obsidian Golem, the Granite Lobster, those things are, I mean, the differences that those made were really good. And I think that if the beta was given enough time, I mean, that could make the game a lot better too. I mean, they were on the beta. There's all these new items. I mean, there's Torvik gloves and Pernix gloves and Bandos helmets and stuff like that, which I guess you could kind of see that coming. I mean, there's a dragon crossbow too, and they made all these shield bows and 2-hand crossbows. I think given enough time, those are definitely something that should be added. The abilities and stuff, maybe a little bit too early, but something we could definitely look forward to in the future if it doesn't get released now, which, not saying that it won't, but it probably will be. But if it doesn't, it'd be something definitely to look forward to. I mean, it's pretty cool, but it's a bit of a big jump from our current combat system to then, or what the beta is now. And they could always downsize it. I mean, I know I find it kind of weird that I have 890 hit points, and they already made the change to the Constitution or hit points system, and now you can have like a maximum of like 10,000 life points, and it's kind of weird. I don't know, but it's something that's probably would have been implemented had this beta never come up. They probably would have moved forward with that anyways. But I don't know. It might be a little too early for it, but like I said before, I mean, I'd be okay if it comes out. It's just how the game's rolling, and I usually just go with whatever comes out.